Friends, some of Disneyland's buildings aren't what they seem, and in fact, some of them don't even exist. Because in a place full of design illusions, sometimes the smartest buildings are just pretending. Brickey here. Today we're uncovering how Disneyland built fake buildings so that the real ones might feel more magical. And before we get started with today's video, how about you hit subscribe real quick, because that's the best way to keep going on these adventures with me. Well, you know what we do. We study Disneyland's past so we can better predict its future. Let's go. Let's start small and work our way up to some of the most complicated illusions in the park. So let's begin with the building that's actually a gate. This little corner on the east side of Town Square looks like a proper Main Street storefront. It matches all the other buildings in its scale and its attention to detail. But here's the thing. All of that is designed to make it feel alive and to make you not question what really sits right here. This is designed to look like an extension of Main Street USA. It is a well-hidden gate. You see, when Main Street gets packed during fireworks or parades, these doors of street justice swing wide open, and guests are able to walk behind Main Street on a secret backstage street, a relief valve hidden in plain sight. But it's no accident that this road is here, because Walt Disney originally envisioned this to be International Street, which would be the perfect companion to Main Street on the other side. Those plans never came to play, but the street still existed, and Disney knew that they had to create a clever facade to hide it from guests, because seeing an exit directly from Town Square would instantly break the hug that Main Street USA gives you once you walk through the tunnel on the right. But this is one of the only fake buildings that moves, and one of the rare ones you walk through. It's way more tangible than most, because most guests never notice this illusion until they need that fast in or out of the park. But this isn't the only corner of Main Street hiding the real world, because just across Town Square on the west side, there's a building that has another secret trick. Everyone knows that the Emporium anchors Main Street, but look closer at its left edge. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 fake facades in a row. But the fourth one, that's the magical one. The one that sits on the corner, this shop doesn't exist. Not at all. It's just a facade built right on the line between stage and backstage. It goes beyond the gates where the horses and Main Street vehicles come and go from Town Square, ensuring that if you look over in this angle when you're admiring the fire station, you never see what's around the bend. You never see Adventureland lurking right behind Main Street. So this building is designed so that you'll never let two worlds share the same view. I love that the gate doesn't stop right here, that it goes a little bit further, therefore extending not only the vibes, but the Disney magic. From the Main Street train station, look down toward the castle, and then move over to the right, and on the east side of Town Square, you'll see 2 extra buildings. I was standing right here one day when I said, what am I looking at? It was that day when I discovered one of Main Street USA's most often overlooked optical illusions, and one that I love so much. It's the moment that makes Main Street feel like a little town that is endless out on the horizon. I mean, that is if you don't happen to see Space Mountain leaking in over the top of the eastern side. But when I set out to discover these buildings, here's the magic trick. You can't walk to them. In fact, the closer you get, the more they disappear. You see, the reason why you can't reach these buildings is they're not a part of Main Street at all. They're secretly the southwest wall of Star Tours, painted to look like early 1900s architecture, but in fact, it's just a leaking edge of Tomorrowland that you would be able to see from Main Street USA if not cleverly disguised, making it one of Main Street USA's most clever design decisions and one of Disneyland's best optical illusions. Main Street USA feels like it has another street that makes the little town go on, when in all actuality, it's just a repurposed back alleyway. And friends, that's the real kind of Disneyland magic and design magic. The best design is the design you never notice, because that means it's working perfectly. as promised, let's get more complex, because when we go over to Frontierland, we'll realize that some of the rooftops are lying to us. In Frontierland, there's a quiet little walkway that most people miss. It connects Frontierland to the castle, tucked right beside Rancho del Zolo. I cannot say it. Rancho del Zolo. No, not gonna happen. When you walk on this path, it feels like you're walking through an old Spanish village. Arch windows, bells, rooftops over your head. But there's a little Disney magic hidden right here, because the illusion is these buildings up here, they don't really exist. They're just facades sitting on top of the roof, built to make this short pathway feel like a gateway into an entire world, but really just two clever placed walls to keep your eyes from seeing the backside of Fantasyland. But here on the ground, it's storytelling genius. It gives you height, history, and atmosphere without ever needing any more land in one of Disney's smallest lands. There's even one little tower on the other side of Fantasyland, disguising the fact that you're actually going through a large tunnel, hiding all the roof lines from the show buildings. And this trick on a small scale works so well, Disney used it to blend two much larger areas together. In this scene, between Frontierland and New Orleans Square sits one of Disneyland's most invisible masterpieces. They had a lot of backstage operations that are sitting in the center of the park as part of one of the only 360 buildings in all of Disneyland. That means this building here never has any backstage components. Therefore, they had to create a backstage in the core of this building. But that meant a design challenge on how to hide it from the guests, the curious guests that look up. So on one side, the Western balconies and shutters. On the other side, French ironwork and pastel colors. But in between, a hidden backstage operations, literally located in the dead center of the park, surrounded by fake facades that disguise a real operational world on the inside. If you look closely above the River Belle Terrace, you'll spot a tiny cathedral-shaped tower rising above the roof line. It looks like it's another building behind the River Belle Terrace, making you think that there's way more happening in the 360 building. But in all actuality, it's just a shallow, forced perspective facade put on top of the roof line. From the ground level and from different areas of New Orleans Square, it looks like there's more to discover. But in reality, from the treehouse, you see just how short and squatty it is, placed on top on the back side of the roof. It's Disney's version of a design handshake. An architectural illusion so smooth, you never realize that you cross between two different lands and two different planes. One of reality, one of illusion. From the banks of the rivers of America or the top of the Mark Twain, look back at New Orleans Square. It feels endless. You'll see a skyline made of rooftops, chimneys, and even tall ship masts poking up into the sky. From a distance, the few that look up and notice, they'll see a theme park facade turn into a living city skyline. And if you never notice it, that's the illusion working perfectly. But here's the truth. Those aren't ships, those are fake masses. Bolted on rooftops to make it look like boats are docked in a harbor just beyond the buildings, really selling the pirates' notion and the idea that New Orleans Square is much bigger than a small city block. And I absolutely love this extreme attention to detail because I know that they're there and I have a hard time positioning myself to find them. They are so well hidden. What a clever part of Imagineering storytelling. But let's step back to ground level because this illusion keeps going with the hidden city beyond the train. From the Disneyland Railroad or the New Orleans Square train station, it looks like New Orleans continues on the south side of the railroad tracks. Balconies, windows, narrow streets, you'd swear that New Orleans Square goes on at least a block or two more. But that's not a neighborhood. Those aren't real or accessible buildings by us, the guests. That's the Pirates of the Caribbean. Right in there is when you go into the big epic ship battle. It's completely disguised, though, on the exterior as more New Orleans Square. We showed this in last week's video that pirates literally exist outside the parks, but now we're seeing what it hides. A fake town built on the other side of the tracks. So the Disneyland Railroad passes through the illusion, selling to guests that when they pull up to the New Orleans train station, that they are indeed in a new little town. Way different than Main Street, their previous stop on the Disneyland Railroad line. But the best part is, it looks real, so you never question the reality about. It's just a facade wrapped around a warehouse, full of pirates battling in their afterlife. And yet, because it looks so convincing, nobody debates it. They just assume, oh yeah, I'm in New Orleans Square. It is a perfect fake building, and it makes you think where you're at is absolutely real, even though where you're really at is full of Disney illusions. But what happens when those illusions start to defy scale entirely? The magic trick, when a building can look massive from far away and then small when you're standing right in front of it. That's where we're headed next, to Disneyland's most advanced and newest illusion in the park. From the Rivers of America, it is the thing that's on the back skyline. It looks like it's part of some sort of future air traffic control tower, rising up behind the Rivers of America, letting you know that this adventure goes on to infinity. And for the adventurous, that there's something enormous to explore on the other side of the Disneyland berm. And this by no means is any kind of accident. It's a clever visual bridge. It tells guests Star Wars Land, or Galaxy's Edge, is right there, without revealing anything about what's actually inside. It's a clever piece of architecture that really exists as a sign or a billboard of things to come. Part clever architecture, part clever storytelling, but all about in-park marketing to the guests. See, Imagineers didn't want to put up any signs telling people how to find Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. This is a little beacon that makes people think, I need to go back to wherever there is. So let's break down how this trick works. Disney used reversed forced perspective. See, forced perspective isn't just about making things look taller. It's also about making things look bigger or further away. Or on the inverse, smaller and closer to you. This one building does both of those magic tricks at the exact same time. So instead of making the top smaller to look taller than what it is, they made the base wide and used the distance of the river to exaggerate its height. Right now, to us, it looks huge. To somebody who's standing right in front of it, it looks small. When you're standing hundreds of feet away, your brain fills in the missing scale automatically. You judge everything around it, see the building, and you make an assumption of, it's probably a pretty tall building. It's not, but it's not gratuitous. It's also design necessary. Galaxy's Edge sits beyond the railroad, on the very back edge of Disneyland's property line. To blend in a Star Wars outpost and a Western frontier, they needed a couple of design-telling story pieces that would help blend the two together. The entire design of the two was determined on how to make a planet on the edge of the galaxy blend in with the American Western frontier. You see, Imagineers needed something that could sell both worlds at once. So this single building became a shared skyline. A perfect disguise that connects our past to a past that happened a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Like on the other side of the railroad, that's how far it is. But walk through Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, get up close to that same structure, and the entire illusion collapses. In fact, since the last time that I did a video about this and originally pointed out to my viewers a couple years ago, this tree right here has definitely grown in, and you can see how Disney is slowly hiding this building, but the magic that it creates on the other side of the Rivers of America is absolutely still intact. Just keeping it away from us inside of the land to see how small it is, because that towering building that you saw across the river is suddenly maybe what? 2 stories, 1 story? Whereas before, it looked like it was what, 4, 5, 6 stories? And the railing on the catwalk gives away the scale. That 3-4 foot tall handrail makes the whole tower only look about twice your height. What across the park looked like a control tower now looks like a small guard watchtower. I love this piece. I love it so much. Clever results here is an optical illusion that works both ways. A believable landmark for people far away and a natural sized building once you're inside the land. And again, Every rock, every ridge, perfectly placed, perfectly designed to make sure you have perfect sight lines as often as possible. You can also notice another inland illusion is what appears to be some sort of weather monitoring device is perfectly placed on the thoroughfare in front of you, which then again pushes that building back even further. Another little clever trick. In our world, the further away something is, the more blue it looks because of our sky and our atmosphere. This building is painted in blue tones, so therefore it cools it and makes it feel much further away when you're close to it or when you're on the far side of the park. Just one of those little storytelling beats where Disneyland is put together more like a painting than a real city. In a theme park designed by folks from Hollywood that perfectly understood set design, that's the level of design that Disneyland operates on. These buildings, they aren't just facades, they're optical instruments tuned to your emotion. And the goal is you don't see architecture, you see storytelling, or shall I say, your heart feels the storytelling. All of these well-crafted architectural illusions are designed to make your brain look away because there's no leaks of reality, just illusions of fantasy as far as the eye and heart can see. And that's exactly what makes it feel real. And make sure you watch this video next if you want to see how some of Disneyland's most popular and biggest attractions weren't even built inside of the park. My name is Brickey. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate you and I appreciate your time.